I've been watching pencil drawing of trees videos.
Oh, yeah?
And I have a question for you when you've got a moment. Not now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was wondering if at some stage you could show us in pencil the kind of marks that you do for leaves.
Yeah, but not here, probably
Not
not
now.
in this class, not in this
Maybe
class.
tomorrow.
We can talk about it tomorrow, totally.
Okay.
Or I can devote a whole class to trees and then we can just do that. Like that's what we can do. Absolutely, we can talk about it, but that's a great question. So we are going to be painting this today, a tree, and you have a choice of whether you're going to include all of this other business in here or not. Remember that to do grass might be kind of too much in this time period. But before we get started, everybody, no matter what you're going to do, is going to do a drawing. So, and we're going to look at the values here. So although this is a green tree, somebody tell me where the light is coming from. What direction?
From the right.
Yeah.
From the right, yeah. How can you tell?
Because the shadow is on the left.
Yeah, the shadow's going this way. Also, I know this looks like just one color, but if you squint, you can see that just about right, just like everything in painting and drawing, just about right here, things get darker on this side and they're lighter on this side. So I don't know if that is easy for you to see, but in truth, and I'm drawing our very special and normal first lines that we are going to draw as we start our lesson today. So everybody should get a pencil out, regardless of whether you're working in pencil or whether you're working in, whether you're working in pencil or whether you're working with paint. Those who are working with a pencil are going to be taking a piece of paper and either drawing using a ruler with a technique I'll show you. If you don't have a ruler, you're going to be folding that paper into 4 equal folds. So that's 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. What this does, so we've got something about kind of monocle size, about like this. When I open it, what I have is something divided into a grid. And by the way, you guys do not, those of you who are painting do not need to use a grid unless you feel like you need it. But for beginners, I feel like beginners will need it. So here, hold on a second. I thought I had all my things taped up, but not this thing. The next step here for those who are gonna start with the drawing is to just take any, take a pencil and take any straight edge. I'm just using the actual source. Where's my pencil? I need a pencil with, oh, here it is. Right, I'm just using the source right now to redraw these lines so that you can really see them. And if you're working with a piece of paper, it's a little bit hard to see this line that's next to the center. I can actually refold it like that, sort of refollow that line so that I can read. So those of you who want to can grid your canvas with pencil the same way that you're gridding that I'm gridding this piece of paper right now. So you can see, I'm just using any straight edge. I'm reinforcing these lines so I can see them. Okay, for those of you who are going to use a ruler, obviously with a canvas, you can't do this. For those of you using a ruler, I will show you how to use the ruler. All right, so you've got something that looks like that. Coming over here. Let me grid this. In beginning drawing, you'll know we may grid tomorrow, we may not. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. I think I want, yes, this marker. So when you're drawing, when you're gridding, you want to find the halfway point of each side. So in this particular case, it happens to be 8.5 inches. You can use centimeters or inches. I'm marking the halfway point, and then I'm going to mark the halfway point of each half. So I'm finding the halfway point and then half and half. So that happens to be 2.2. By the way, tomorrow I'm also going to have 2 sizes of gridded drawing. One will be the A4 size and the other will be the A3 size, so that everybody can draw in proportions. I'm doing the same thing up here. I finally figured out that we needed to do that. Yeah, the A3 is significantly bigger than A4. It's like almost 12 by 16 inches compared to 8.5. And then see, I'm lining up my ruler between the 2 marks. And then I know I'm drawing a straight line. I'm going to do the same thing on the edge. 11, 5.5. Is that right? Yep. Your paper may or may not be as big as mine, so I'm not shouting out the numbers. I don't want to confuse you, but I am finding the halfway point and being careful to line up my ruler. You know, even this thing is a rule. This is a tool. All right. And then as well here. So this grid's going to help you. For those of you who are just drawing, I don't mean that. We'll spend some time working on drawing. This is a painting class, so most of our time is going to be spent with painting, but I will get you drawing people started and I will be happy to work with you. As any one of you who has done these lessons knows before, what you're going to start with is drawing these outer shapes. So whether you're working on a canvas or canvas, or whether you're working on paper, you can draw in a grid and you're going to draw in the shape of these red lines. And notice they're pretty general. They're not super specific. What we're doing is we're starting out by identifying the shadow, the road, what's happening in front here, the horizon and back, and the sky, and then the light side. So I'm going to take a picture of this and then I'll show you. I'm going to try and draw this without a grid. So I will demonstrate that for you too. If you're just watching right now, that's okay. There'll be time to do this. Let me take a picture of this. I think everybody's in here. Here, 1 second. So here is, I'm going to send this out. So those of you who are drawing for the first time, your first job, whether you're working on the canvas or working on paper, is to in pencil draw these red lined shapes. I'm going to do that right now. So before we even get started, we're starting with a pencil drawing. That's what's kind of nice. So here is mine. Mine's a little bit smaller. And I may simplify this drawing. You're welcome to follow along with me or just do your own. You do have the WhatsApp thread. You do have this on the WhatsApp thread now, so you can find it. Let's see. I think I'm going to start with the horizon here. And the tree is a little bit to the left, the right of center. So I want to make sure, and a little bit below the halfway point. So I want to make sure. Here, I'll show you how I'm sketching. Okay. Coming up here, I'm coming here. So yeah, if you want to use your, I'm going out here. I might have to adjust these things. See how I'm, oh wait, here, sorry. Can't quite see that there. I'm going to give you a second to catch up here. I'm just trying to get us going. Right. So my tree got a little too big. Remember how I'm always telling you guys, it's easy to make things too big. See how I just did that? Here's where my original line was. Here's where it actually is supposed to, this is a little bit closer about where it's supposed to land. I don't know if anybody knows anything about trees. I don't quite know what this tree is. If anybody has a clue, I'd love to know. And then here's our road. So see, I'm not getting fancy. And I'm not adding it. I'm just kind of going to do a simple line. That's how this is how simple your beginning drawing is going to be. I know I made that look a lot easier than it actually is. Don't worry about this taking your time. So whether you are working with your grid or not, and for those who are using the grid for the first time, does that make sense to you? Do you understand how to use it, or do I need to explain that a little bit more?
I think I folded it the wrong way.
Let me see. Hold on. I'm going to come over to you. Hold on. Where are you? Let's see.
Yeah, I did. It's like long ways instead of.
I think you're okay. Oh, I think it's okay, actually, believe it or not.
Okay.
Wait, can you take a picture of it and send it across the thread, Emma, just so I can see it?
I don't think I got the thread invite actually.
Oh, I just texted it to you. Let's see. I sent it as a text message.
Yeah, I didn't get a text.
Okay, let me try that again.
Yeah.
I'm going to try that again. What's nice about the thread is that you just join once, and then regardless of whether you're in class or not, until you remove yourself, you can kind of see what everybody's doing. People tend to share. It's nice. Let's see. I'm going to invite via link. I'm going to share this link. Okay, so I'm going to send a message. Can you just shout out your number really quick again? 646.
646-285-3096.
3096. Okay. All right. Did you get that one?
Not yet.
It says it went through 646-285-3096. I wonder if I have to have a one, if I have to add a 1 before that. Let me try again. Should I send it via email? Would that work better? Can you pull that up off your phone? Are you in WhatsApp? Do you have WhatsApp?
I do have WhatsApp.
All right, let me see if I can actually send this to you. Let's see, 646. Tell me once more time, 646-285.
285 3096.
096. This is really annoying. All right, I'm going to try another way. I'm going to try and send it to you via email, and then you can open that up. Give me a second. Copy link and send it via email to, what's your email?
It's ema.o'connor@gmail.com. I can put it in the chat too.
Okay, that's cool. There we go. I think I just sent it. Did you get it? Via email?
Not yet. Let me see. Yes, just got it.
Awesome. Okay, so just follow that link and then you can send me what you're working on. But Emma, the basic idea, and I think you took one of the beginning classes I taught, didn't you? I feel like
I had to miss
it. Oh,
it.
you didn't? Okay, so basically you use this grid to help you locate where to start and end these shapes. You see, so you can actually just here, like this. You can literally, I'll just do this so you can see it. You can actually, like, this is about halfway, right? I can actually give myself little dots, kind of draw this line like that. Draw this line like that. This is about here. So I kind of square by square, right, can bring my shape. See how I'm doing this? So that's the point of the grid. The grid helps you figure out where things are. And what you'll notice is that you won't necessarily get those things right on your own. Right, guys?
Right.
Right. It's like, it's because we privilege things in a different way when we're drawing. We tend to make them bigger than they really are. Let's see, there's this guy out here, right? And then there's this guy here. I'm using, if you can see where my finger is and where I'm kind of using this to sketch out the shape. It looks terrible, but this is how you start drawing. So that's what you're going to want to do. If you're having a lot of trouble, it might help you to do the thing upside down. And by that, I don't mean you go upside down. I mean, you put your source upside down and you try drawing upside down. So just focus on getting these. And if you're in the WhatsApp link here, I'll resend everything so you can see it. And you should definitely try to jump into beginning drawing too, where we'll spend a lot more time talking about drawing technique. Here we are. It doesn't matter what direction you fold. You have to fold 4 times. It should, either way, it should work. That works. Yep. So fold 4 times. So once again, I'll show you. Let's see. 1, 2. If you fold 4 times.
Wait.
Right? If you fold 4 times, it should show up either way. Let me try it again. If I do it this way, I see what you're saying, right? It should still work. 1, oh, I see your point. 1, 2, I think it should still work. 3, yeah, it'll still work. So Emma, you'll still get to the same, regardless of which way you do it, you'll still get to the same place if you fold 4 times. See?
Yeah, I got it. I actually, it's just my paper is pretty thick, so the fourth fold was hard. So
Right, got it. Okay. So you go ahead and get started. Everybody else here is probably in some way getting their painting ready. So notice we're not even looking. Oh, and then once you finish these outer lines, you can start getting in some of the inner shapes. Right, there is a sort of trunk. Let's see, it's more like this. There's kind of a trunk line that goes up like this a little bit. You're going to find that less trunk is more. So what do I mean by that? You will see when you start to draw your trunk that the more hard lines you have, the kind of worse it looks. But just a couple of hard lines are really good. So I'm drawing about this much of the inner shapes. I can see I've got that there. There's my little branches. Who's getting a call? Yeah, if you've got like noisy stuff going on, that's totally okay. We should probably mute it. Nina, are you here from BuzzFeed?
Oh, hi. I'm sorry, my microphone is off. Hold on. I'm from Reuters.
You're from Reuters. Awesome.
Oh, good. You can hear me.
We can hear you.
So I
we
just
can hear
joined
you
now. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Are you drawing or painting?
Whatever is easier. Like I just folded the squares and then I didn't know where that image came from. So I was just going to try and find out.
All right. So, so Nina, you need to join the WhatsApp thread. So I need to get you on that. So give me just a second. And I need your phone number. Where are you? Hold on. I'm going to get your phone number. Hold on. Give me just a second. Okay. I think I'm going to need a TA, you guys. What do you think? About this stuff, Dad. So, all right. Tell me where are you calling from? Where are you calling
from? Toronto, Canada.
From Canada. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I think maybe the best thing to do, if you can't give me your phone, can you give me your phone number?
Yeah, I can put it in the chat or I can just give it to you.
Just give it to me. I'm going to text you over a link to join our WhatsApp thread. That's where all this stuff is.
Oh, okay, perfect.
What's your number?
So it's 647 668 9296.
Okay. And what's the country code for? Is it 1? as well?
Yeah, it's one.
It's
yeah,
one also.
647.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I was having trouble sending this. All right, let's see if I can send this over. All right, you should have a text from me with a link to join the WhatsApp group once you join it. Yep.
Okay, I got it.
Now, so join, follow the link, and then I'm going to send what you guys are working on today.
Okay, perfect. And so this is acrylic paint today, right? Not
Yeah.
watercolor?
No, not watercolor. Yeah,
Okay.
acrylic paint. And for those of you who missed the beginning of class, these classes, or have to leave early, these classes are recorded. Hold on, let's see, you're up. Yeah. Okay. So this is the subject that you're working on. If you're working in pencil, I think that might be the easiest thing for those of you who have joined late. This is a grid. And these red lines are the first lines you're going to put on your paper. So you're going to follow these red lines using the grid to help you find out where to put those red lines. So you're not starting with any detail, no detail. So drawers, you're going to be a little bit more on your own today. I will help you, but now I'm about to jump into painting. So I can get the painting people started. Then I will return to you drawers and I will give you more instructions. But for the moment, drawers are to put, using a pencil, use these lines to help figure out like this, these shapes. And from there, you can add these other things as well, these other lines. So everything that's in red is what you're going to be working on. All right, so painters. Let's see. Yeah, that's looking great, Olga. Looking really nice. Painters, we are going to start. Let's see how I can do this to set it up so that you can see it. So unlike the last couple weeks where we have been kind of toning the paper with orange, this week we're going to actually do a kind of loose, what I call a tonal drawing. So what I've got up here is palette paper, and I'm also going to spend a lot of time talking to you about color mixing and working on a palette. So we're actually going to start. I want you to be able to see this whole thing. So notice I don't have the color picture. I'm actually working with the black and white, and I'm about to put we're about to work with one color only. And you have a couple of choices. I'm using a color called burnt sienna. So if you have burnt sienna, you should put that on your palette. This is palette paper, so it especially holds paint. If you put palette, you can't really put paint on regular paper. It will absorb in and mix with the material and mess up your painting. So you can also use cadmium red or another kind of, you can also use any red, basically. Here's an example of cadmium red. I'm going to actually use burnt sienna, but it's really just one color I want you to put on your palette right now. And then
Julia,
what?
Sorry, we use acrylic, right?
Yes, acrylic.
Okay, thanks.
And you're going to see my setup over here. I've got brushes and I've got water in a little cup here. And then down here, I have a little bit of paper towel. Now watch what happens. Let me show you what brushes you are not going to be using. You will not be using this brush. It is way too small. You will not be using this brush. It is way too small. These brushes are all way too small. Okay, I want you to use a big brush like this. See the difference between them? And a flat brush is probably going to be more helpful than a pointed brush. A lot of you who are new to painting are going to want to use this. Get away from this. This is going to drive you crazy. We're going to use a big brush. It's going to feel clumsy, but later you're going to get more used to it as we begin to sort of lay out our paper. I want to talk a little bit about how to apply the paint. So you want your brush to be wet, but if it's too wet like this, right? If there's there's water dripping, it's too drippy. Well, we will make it a little bit more drippy, but at first you're going to want to tap. Notice here, I've got this either a rag or a paper towel. Once I dip my brush in the water, I come down here and I pull off a little bit of the excess water. I can also squeeze like this. Okay. so that I have a wet brush, but not a dripping brush. Because when I come here, I'm going to start by painting kind of the dark side of my tree. And notice I'm not really, I want the paint to be thick. It's all going to be red. And I'm working kind of I'm not working any variations right now. I'm just trying to get, and I'm using, when I get down to the trunk, I'm using like just the sort of top edge of my brush. And when I'm doing everything else, I'm going vertically up and down. I mean, there's more than one way to use your paintbrush, but I get a lot of questions about what direction should I go? What should I do? So I try to tell you what I'm doing as I'm doing this. Okay, and the shadow as well. So I'm just continuing to go and do what we call loading my brush with paint. Notice this shadow just doesn't go straight across. It actually goes down. That means this is on a little hill. That's because this is on a little hill. So there's a little shape. Yes.
Yeah, sorry, my internet is a bit erratic today. So you have used, I can use any red color, right?
Any red color, but only one color. Yes, any red color, but only one color. And with this first side, we are going very heavy. So we want our brush not to be, and notice I don't have any of these details. I don't have this outer shape yet. That's not yet what we're doing. So this is like kind of dark over here. A little bit dark too. So you're going to start, I'm looking to see if there's any other dark areas. It's kind of dark back here. So I'm going in with a darker. So to make, if I'm working with this is what we call an underpainting. You're going to see a lot of them over the next few months. And if I want my underpainting to be dark, which I do, I'm going to want to use more paint and less water. Now, if I'm going to come over here to the lighter side of this tree, which is divided here with this red mark. So for those of you who are drawing, although you're not painting, I'm talking about kind of similar things. Once you get your shapes in, you can start to, and in fact, for those of you who are drawing, I'd like you to practice something. I want you to give me, I want to just introduce this really quickly. While the others are painting. Let's see. I'm going to introduce the concept of value to you. So value is the lightness or darkness of any color. That means if this is a 1 and this is 5, 2, 3, and 4 get gradually darker. Right? You have different values. So it's not just light and dark. You've got a light and a dark, and you've got these midtones in the middle, hence why they're called midtones, right? So I want you, everybody who's working with pencil, I want you to practice creating a value scale with your pencil, just on your piece of paper, either underneath or on the back of your drawing or somewhere. I want you to do this and send it in to me so I can see you get it. And then you'll see that this has varying values in it. So the darkest areas are, I'll start to circle them because this will be helpful for painters too. I'm going to circle those in green. The darkest areas, no, I'm not because I just dropped the green. I'll do it in blue, are kind of here. The trunk is very dark. Right, as you're starting to, this is all pretty dark. These areas are really dark. This is dark. This shape is pretty dark. Dark here, dark here. That's pretty dark too, right? So as you start to draw, this is very dark. Anything that's here in blue and here too. So as you're starting to sketch in, I want you to darken the darkest areas using your pencil in a kind of a 5 idea. Everything else will be 4, 3, 2. In fact, your sky will probably be a 1, right? Even here, there are a few darks. The rest of this area is lighter. They're lighter. It's probably more like a 3. Here, I'll even label them. So the blues, so blue is dark. It's a 5. Here, I'll write it down. Equals a 5. This kind of orange color is like 3 and 4. And as you start to carve in the shape of your tree from this bigger envelope that you've drawn, you are going to pay attention to values. So you're going to start by doing dark values and then adding light values in the shapes around them. Okay. I think blue equals 5 and orange equals 3 equals a 3. So when you're darkening with your pencil, of course, or your brush, you're going to be paying attention to those. Let's see. Sorry, I'm going to jump onto the thread really quick. Lovely, Anik. Great. So Anik's done a great job. There's a great example there if you want to see how this looks. Here's my kind of more messy one, my messy and quick one. I'll send it across so you can see it. If anybody's working on anything and has questions, send it across the thread and let me know if I'm yammering away. I'm going to send this across too so you can see the kind of, once you get these outer shapes, you're going to start carving out these inner shapes and darkening. So if you're working with a pencil, you're going to do the darkest areas first. All right. So for painters who are, let's see, take a look. Good, Emma. All right, Emma. You're doing the paint. Good for you. Oh, geez, Sandra. That's great. Needy, great, wonderful, great. I'm looking to see if there's any dark areas. So how do we create lighter areas using the same color? Aha, now we go over here, back to painting. We dip our brush in the water and I tap it maybe once or twice, but I want my brush to be wetter so that it's waterier. So you can see as I dip my brush here, it's a little bit like more translucent, which means that when I lay it down here, see how I can see a difference? This light side it's a little bit waterier. So when you're doing what's called a monotone, this is a monotone underpainting. We're going to cover our whole canvas in a minute with values of paint using the same color. And the way to get lighter is to use more water. And actually I can see that in here, like where I circled, there's a little bit more dark. So I'm going back in, loading my brush with more paint and kind of in this area, particularly darkening it a bit more. Unlike watercolor painting, you're going to find, and yes, I know that this shape are not the same. So we are going to use our background eventually to shape this tree. Do not worry if your tree looks kind of like a big, ugly, I don't know, a brain. I have no idea. Okay, this is like super light in the background, the sky. So I'm going in and getting a lot of water on my brush, lots and lots and lots of water. I'm coming here, I'm actually scrubbing my brush and I'm going to add that into the background. So I want my background sky right now to be orange or red. Drips are okay. I have drips because I'm working on a kind of diagonal, or sorry, a drawing table. And then I'd say just to be simple, let's get the rest of this just colored in a little bit with kind of a light wash. So you've got your darks kind of standing out and your light side standing out, and you've got a little bit of paint everywhere. And you're painting, you probably are hating the way your painting is looking, but that's okay. There's a process here. And if you're interested in practicing this, there are already 2 tree painting lessons up on the YouTube channel. So you can totally go and do those. if you have to miss this one, I'll have it recorded. It'll be up in about an hour. So I'll send out more information about that, but that's one of the ways we go forward. So I'm just trying to get you guys to see this. So we're going to do this. Take a minute. I want to take a few minutes to get there. Drawers, if you're drawing, let me know how it's going. If you're painting, that's awesome too. Unlike watercolor, we can layer light colors over darks. So it actually is better to go darker on your base layer and bring in colors on top that are lighter, which feels counterintuitive, but is exactly the way to do it. Once we get to watercolor, it's a different story. We'll be getting to watercolor in these core curriculum classes in April. But I want to practice this, and I'm going to try and introduce a watercolor class during the week too, but I just want to find the best. Nice, yeah. Emma. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Natalia, yes. Yes.
Leah, can you move your camera towards your right a bit? Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. It's hard to get everything in there. Here we go. I was about to take a picture of it is what I was going to do so you can see it. Here, hold on. Let me do that because that'll probably be better. Here is my very messy version. Olga, nice. Emma, great. Emma, amazing. Great. Annika, great. Olga, lovely. Emma, great. Everybody else, have I looked at everybody's? Yeah, take a minute to get there. So it always feels, it's a funny thing about drawing and painting, as for those of you who have worked with me for a while, I think you're now starting to get this, right? That everything starts very blocky and kind of like, it's just not that pretty. It looks sort of awkward. I like to say, painters like to say there's an awkward stage to every painting. Sometimes a painting stays awkward for a very long time before you figure out the things to do to it. But we start with these basic shapes and these basic lights and darks, which I always appreciate because to me, it feels less overwhelming than trying to deal with all this business up front, right? I don't want to deal with this yet. I want to, oh, very nice. Nice, needy, great. You do not have to send your stuff across the thread, but it helps. Nice, Natalia. Great. Great. Good job, you guys. And I'm going to wait a minute because I know I also tend to go a little bit on the fast side. I've also noticed that some of these painting demos are taking a little bit more than 2 hours. If that's true, I'll just keep going. Those of you who have to leave can leave, but the recording will be available so that you can do it. Trees have edges a lot like clouds. The leaves of trees are a lot like painting clouds. So that's why this is a very good transition. Next week, I was thinking we would do some flowers in a field or something, or like flower close-ups, just to start practicing something a little different with stronger lines. When you're
flowers.
Yes, yep, we'll get there. We'll get there. We're going to do all the pieces of a landscape. I'm going to put this aside and let it dry. So I'm putting this aside and then I'm prepping. Going to move away our black and white, putting up our color so we can look at that. And I'm going to talk to you about organizing your palette. Now, do I need to? I may have to. We're going to do some color mixing and some color practice while we're waiting for this to dry. Okay. Yep, I did something I didn't really want to do. So I'm going to actually reorganize my palette while you guys are here and we'll talk about that. So I want to talk to you. A lot of painting is mixing. The mixes aren't super intuitive. I'm going to put this back. And there's a way of putting them up, which makes it easier to kind of organize your mixes. So that's what we're going to talk about next. If you have another piece of canvas paper or a sheet, you want to put it here somewhere on the side. Ugh, let's see. There we go. How do we fit all the things so that you can practice your marks? So you'll notice this is from the last 2 classes. These are practices that I did. It's a different canvas sheet. And in fact, there's scribbles and all kinds of things on it. It's just kind of a junky sheet. that I'm doing some practice work on. Everybody's now on the thread, right? We've got you all in. Oh, Emma, nice. Nice, Emma. Anya, not bad. You don't need these to be so dark. These, sorry. You don't need, Anya, you don't need these lines to be so dark. It can be lighter, but we can cover that up, so I'm not really worried about it. Very nice value shifts, Emma. I know you feel like painting has been a struggle for you, but I really want to commend you. I'm seeing massive improvements. Nice, Claudia. Claudia, attach your trunk to your shadow. It's not floating above it, and it's not exactly a V. Take a look at your source. Take a look at your source here. It's not exactly a V to get that shape right. Nice, Needy. Good, Annika. Great.
Sorry, this is Emma. I had to step away for a second. Did you
Okay.
say something to me?
Nope, I did not. Nope, you're good.
Anya.
Unless you send me Anya. It was Anya, sorry.
Similar sounding names.
Very much. If you want to, send in what you're working on and I'll take a look at it. And if you don't, you can also say, if you feel shy, you can send it to me separately. But I kind of like seeing people's process. And I think we're all, what I was saying actually was, Emma, I'm really, really appreciating Emma's push up in mark making with the brush. So all that frustration you've been feeling, Emma, it's paying off. That's what I want to tell you. It's paying off. It's great. I notice these things. Annika, very nice. I notice these things. I notice it and I see it. That's great. You're working on your own thing. You're also totally welcome to work on your own thing and do your own thing and send it in so we can take a look. That's also totally valid. Emma, you're going to really like this group of people. It's the most international group. So we have a lot of international, although also beginning drawing and pastel landscapes is also very international because it's done during a time when we can get a lot of different people from different countries in, but I think you'll enjoy them.
So, what I'm working on also.
What's that, honey?
I've also sent the photo of what I'm working on.
Okay.
Like I sent you the photo of what I did and the original photo.
Okay. And if you need any help, let me know. Or just if you're feeling good, just keep on going. If you want me to take a look, I'm happy. It's not snowing here. I see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That looks good, kind of. It looks like you've got everything. Her neck is a little bit thicker than you have it. You've got it a little bit thinner than her neck actually is. So you can, and her eye is actually bigger. Slightly bigger. It comes down on the nose. And listen, guys, I'm going to be very like stickler anal about this stuff, but you take what I say with, I mean, follow it or not. Life's too short. If you're like, I don't get this, or that just feels like, no, I know what I'm doing, I want to do something different, that's also true. I'm just offering, I'm trying to push us in that when I see something, I'm trying to push it forward a little bit so that you know how to kind of take the next step. We're all at different levels here, and that's like totally great. But that means everybody needs different things. So now that I see a fair number of people have got your underpainting. So this is a monotone underpainting, and we're going to do a lot of them. That's what that is. Because we know the more layers of paint we put on a canvas, the more depth the color has. Okay, so let's talk about the colors that are in this particular painting. We'll start by looking at this so you can see it. I see it's a little bit of glare here. You also have a picture of, I'm going to forward this so you can see it. You've also got a picture in color. I'll pull it down the thread. Hold on. There it is. Here is a picture of this, the source, so you guys can see it yourself. It's a little bit yellower, looks a little bit yellower in this picture than it does camera, either way. So these greens could go in different directions. This greens look a little bit more blue to me. The greens in the picture, for some reason, are yellower. So you could go either direction on that. But here are the colors you're going to be using. There are 4 or 5 colors in here. So this is my burnt sienna and my cadmium red. Those are both going to be used. I'm going to start with ultramarine blue. I'll write this palette down and notice that I have this palette paper lengthwise. Here, I'll move this so you can see it. And I'm putting like all my colors in basically order from light to dark on the top edge of the palette. There are reasons for that, and we will talk about it. So I've got ultramarine blue. I have viridian green. Where is my viridian? I have viridian green. Where is it? If you don't have these colors, shout out what you've got and I'll give you some options. This is viridian green. Viridian green is a fantastic green for mixing. It's a neutral. It's neither warm nor cool, so it can go in a lot of different directions. See, blue, green, yellow. I'm going to put just 2 or 3 different yellows. What I've got a lemon yellow here, and then this is a cadmium yellow medium. So I've got a warm yellow and a cool yellow. Wait, I know I have another yellow here somewhere. There we are. You can see the difference. Even on the Zoom screen, you can see the difference. This is a little bit more orangey, and this is kind of a little bit more pale and white. Hold on. So those are the 5 colors we're going to be using. We'll use a little bit of white, but later on. So these are the 5 colors that we're going to be using. This is cad red. Oh, no, I should do it up here. Cad red, ultramarine blue, viridian green, lemon yellow, which is a cool yellow, and cad yellow, cadmium yellow. All right, I'll take a picture of this so you can see it. And really notice how this is organized. Oh, that's looking nice, Diana, from the pastel landscapes class over the weekend.
Yeah.
Very nice. Looks great. All right, so I'm sending that palette across. So notice that we've got, this is not a lot of colors, and notice that there's no white in here. We'll use white for the blue with our sky, but for mixing, there's 2 kind of major colors that are in here. One is this kind of dark, rich, dark color that is the shadow, that is the trunk, and that is some of the darker part of the leaves. And the other is a variety of greens in different values. I've got, here's a dark value green. Here is a lighter value green. Here is a very light value. So that's like, this is probably like a 4, and that's a 3. And then there's some 2s. Let's see.
Leah.
Oh, that's looking great. Good job.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't have the green that you have asked for. I have lemon yellow and I have cad yellow as well with me.
Okay.
Ultramarine blue is there.
Okay.
And green, I have some different shades actually, you know.
What you've got?
I'll tell you.
What's your
What's
darkest? What's your
sap green?
Sap green.
Green.
Okay.
And
Is that
light
your
green, which is And,
So no light green,
1
so
second.
none of the light greens. Get your darkest
Okay.
green and put it out there. Sap green or hooker green. So Viridian is a little bit, you'll see the difference in a second. In fact, I might have even got sap green. I used to say, oh, I hate sap green as a color. It drives me crazy. I now know it's in so many like palettes that we got to use it. So yeah, sap or hooker's green might be the darkest green that you have. You only want a dark green. You do not want to add a tube light green right now. We're going to mix our light greens. We're going to create our light greens. So
should I use, sorry to interrupt you.
Oh yeah.
So should I use sap green, or I have the olive green as well, and emerald
sap
green?
Sap green, please. Sap green.
Okay, sap green.
Yep, sap
and
green.
Red is, I don't have a cad red. I can use, I don't know.
Naphthol.
No, it's a burnt sienna, some color.
You know, you
shade.
can, do you have burnt sienna?
Yeah.
You can use burnt sienna. Oh, I forgot to write that. You can use burnt sienna or burnt umber, actually.
Okay.
I left a color out here, so I'm going to put it on the side. Burnt umber. If you've got burnt umber, that will also work. Let me put, so there's one more color. Sorry, I forgot to put the last color in. It's burnt umber. Burnt umber. So burnt umber and burnt sienna are kind of warm greens. Here, I'll take that picture again. Nice. Nina, looking good. Really good. Okay, let me take that again. So here is your palette. And here is how you should organize your palette. So you're going to need a palette knife. If you don't have one, you can use your brush to mix, but you'll have to keep cleaning your brush in between mixes. This is a palette knife, just used to mix color. So we're going to work on two or three mixes today. The first mix we need to work on is this rich dark. And that I get by mixing ultramarine blue. And notice how the organization of this palette becomes very important. I can pull a little bit of burnt umber here, over here, and ultramarine blue down here. And I can mix them together with my palette knife.
I don't have a palette knife. Is there anything else you would recommend using?
I mean, maybe just a regular knife to clean out. I think I forgot to put palette knife on the supply list, so that's totally my bad. Yeah, I mean, you can also use your brush like this. You can use a brush, right? Where you pull little pieces here, bits here, like that. But it's not real. It's hard for beginners, Diana. So we want to, right? Because they have to keep cleaning their brush in between. Okay. You can totally go with your brush.
Would you use a different brush then?
Yeah, I'd use a different brush, and then I just keep cleaning it out. Use a brush for mixing. So if you don't have it, a palette knife. And if I want to see how this looks, I will actually, I will take my brush. You can use a brush that you're mixing with. So there are those of you who are using a brush, it's going to be easier, right? And I'm going to put it down here as a test, and I can see how it looks. So that is a beautiful, rich dark. If it looks too blue, like here it is, if it looks too blue, right, add a little bit more brown to it. If it looks too brown, add a little bit more blue to it. But you will see this is a very beautiful, rich dark, and it should not be too much of one or the other. It should not be too brown or too blue. It should be kind of a rich, earthy, loamy black. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is my absolute, and I'm cleaning off my palette knife in between. If you're using a brush, you're going to come in here, dip it in your water, come over here, and then squeeze it out, right? If you're using a brush to mix.
You know what? I don't think we have any gentlemen.
Do we not have any gentlemen? We will. They'll come. All right, this ladies is my absolute secret formula for success. I use this mix. So this is ultramarine blue plus burnt umber for almost all my darks. It is one of my favorite mixes. Now, other teachers will mix differently. So there's more than one way to do this, but this is a fantastic, I don't know. But what do they know? I think this is perfect. I can take a picture of it. And I want you to also notice my palette. So as I'm like, instead of, here, the nice thing about the organization of this palette, as I start to mix, I told you there's a lot of information in here, so don't worry. We have a video, right? So if you look at the palette here, you'll see that I'm able to keep my colors, part of my colors like unmixed. So as I want to make new mixes, I can. And if I make a mix and I'm not happy with it, so if I make a mix with too much blue for a matter, then I can, instead of continuing to try and throw brown into this mix or in there, I can actually take a little bit of this down here, pull a little bit more brown, right? And I can mix. So I can mix different variations as I come down while keeping my base color available for me to do more mixing. Because with acrylic painting, your paint's going to dry fast and you're going to need to keep remixing. So first of all, there's this ultramarine blue and burnt umber mix. I'd like to see you test it on something, and I'd like to see the mix. So send that across as you're working on it.
Yeah, why are these all the same mix, ultramarine blue and burnt umber, all these 3 black strokes that you have?
Yes, all 3 of these are, yeah, they are, all of them. One had a little bit more blue in it, and I added brown back in to make it more black. And this is also, so it'll change depending on sort of the ratio of different colors that you've got. What I was trying to show here is you want it to be more black and less brown or blue. So if you notice too much blue, put more brown in. And if you notice too much brown, put more blue in. But you'll see it's a real beautiful brown, sort of dark, deep dark color. Okay. And you guys tell me, send me I'll take a look at a couple of mixes and then I will tell me if I'm going too fast. Claudia, that looks pretty good. Ooh, nice, Emma. Emma, you're natural. Good. Anik. So, okay, that works. Nice. Primary. So, Anik, really good work. What is the principle at hand here? And how were you able to do that? What are we doing when we're mixing these 2 colors?
I needed like a neutral blue, but rather warm.
Right.
And brown that is earthy.
So we're essentially mixing complementary colors, blue and orange. So when you pick another cut, so burnt umber is also a variation on orange, right? It's a brownie orange, it's a warm orange. So blue mixes with brown, I get a kind of neutral, a dark neutral. I can also mix a blue with burnt sienna and get that same cut. So right, that's exactly it. Rashmi, good, looking good. Emma, looking good. All right, now we're going to start practicing the greens. So there is, beyond this dark here, there is a dark green. It's like a 4. In some places it may be as dark as a 5, but in most places it's a 4. So if you notice, if I just use, so with landscape greens, by the way, nice work, everybody. I'm seeing this coming across. With landscape greens, what did I just do with my pen? Here it is. With landscape greens, you cannot use things out of the tube. People like to think they can use sap green or chrome oxide green. If I put this right directly on my paper, my canvas, and you'll see, I'm going to take some of my green. You'll see it's a very flat color and it's not very naturey. It doesn't look like nature. That's because all greens, virtually all greens, are mixed with a little red in landscapes. And that is, again, returning to the concept of complementary colors. So remember, there are 3 complementary color pairings. They are green and red, they are blue and orange, they are purple and yellow. And if you want some review on this, go back to our lessons from clouds. We spent a lot of time talking about that, and I'll bring it up again, but we have a lot to do here today. So if I want to create a kind of neutralized, a little pushed back, slightly grayed version of a green in landscapes, it has to have a little bit of red in it. So look what happens when I take some Viridian and a touch of cadmium red. All right, not too much, but a touch. When I put that on my paper, I need a little bit more red. It has a richer, darker, it's darker. So when I put this cadmium red in, the green gets darker, so it becomes a darker color. But also it's a little bit more muddy. It's a little bit more murky. It's a little bit more landscape colored. Let me show you again, really how these guys look. Here's your Viridian green, and here's the mix with cadmium red. Here, I'm going to write this down because I know this is a lot. This is cad red, or you can try other reds if you don't have cadmium red, plus green. And this is just green.
Does a crimson work for the red?
Yeah, try it out. It'll be different. Try them all. They all have slightly different. Yeah, use whatever red you have. Just green. I like cadmium red because it's very warm. Crimson is cooler. And we'll spend time talking about that as we go through these lessons. Needy, that's not dark enough. Go darker. You want way darker. Something's happening. Here we go. You can see the difference between the cad red and the green and the just green. This is like kind of jewel toned. It's not really naturey. This has more of a loamy kind of earthy look to it. So all of your greens in landscapes will have a little bit of red. You can experiment with different reds to see how that changes things. To lighten, to create the lighter versions of your green, you're going to add. So see, I already have this little base of paint. I've got this base of dark paint. I'm going to take some of this down here and I'm going to pull a yellow into it to lighten it. Oh, I need more yellow. See, so that's my cool lemon yellow. Now I've got something that's a little bit more like a 3. So my base still has green and red. My base is still green and red. And to lighten it, let's try this with the cadmium yellow and see the difference. There's a difference. See, I lighten with yellow. Now, if I try to lighten with white, we do not want to lighten with white. I'm going to demo for you how you don't want your greens to look. White is a cooling color. So when you mix it in, here's my white. We'll need the white for the sky, but look what happens when I try to mix it into my.
Oh, I have a question actually about it.
Yeah.
Because I have ivory.
Still, it'll do the same thing. Because I know it's warmer.
It's a bit warmer, right?
Yeah, ivory is warmer, but look at the difference. Ivory still won't be the right color. You need to lighten with yellow. So look what happens when I lighten my green and red with white. Look at how cool that is. That is not what's happening here. This is a very warm green, right? The greens that are happening are more these greens. They are not white. So no white. So no white. That's why you guys don't put any white on your palette until I tell you to. Because I don't even want you to be tempted. Brenda, Prussian blue will be great, actually. Sorry, I just saw this. Prussian blue is a beautiful color. It's a wonderful color for mixing, nice and cool. So now you want to be mixing. And then if I want to make this even lighter, I can pull a little bit of that dark down and more yellow. So see how I'm continuing to move down, taking little piles of the previous color to create a series of colors. So spend a moment doing that. I'm going to go. Is anybody having fun? Are you enjoying this?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
I want you to notice how you feel right now. You know, normally I ask this question at the beginning of class. Note how you feel now, and then notice how you feel at the end of class. So take a moment to notice, just observe yourself, maybe even write a note. How do you feel right now? And we're going to check again at the end of class. There's a lot of valid answers to that question, by the way. I will be right back. So guys, as we're going through this year of painting, we're going to go fast. Nice, Natalia. Nice, Emma. Beautiful. You want to use Viridian. Your Viridian green looks very blue. Looks very turquoise. That's strange. I don't know. But it seems to be working. The mixes are working. Annika, your mixes are too, that brown is too brown. You want more blue in it?
Okay.
Anik, you're very nice. Nice. See how we're starting to get these nice tree-y colors? And notice we haven't even started painting. We'll get there. But mixing is like half the battle. Olga, that's not bad. I want to see you get a little lighter with your colors. Show me some lighters, lighter yellow, lighter greens. And I said, like I said, if you want to practice this more than once, I am teaching each week. There are 3 classes on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, where we will be doing an acrylic painting of the same general subject. So we did trees, but each one will be a different tree. So if you want to really practice trees, you can totally go back and grab the videos and work with and keep working and keep practicing the trees. So, or you could come to class. You don't have to just come to 1 class a week. You can come to as many classes as you want to. There's something very gray about what's happening here, Needy. What's your, I don't know what are these mixes made up of?
The first one is the ultramarine blue and the brown color, burnt
umber?
Yeah.
Burnt
Not amber, burnt sienna.
Oh, okay, because you don't have burnt umber, or do you have burnt sienna?
No.
Okay.
No, I have burnt sienna, not burnt amber.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is crimson red and the dark green.
So that's too gray. So I would try a different red. Try using burnt sienna in with your sap green. Okay. Your green should be dark like this. It should be dark. It shouldn't be gray like that. So if it's gray, then you're mixing. So try sap green and a little burnt sienna. See if that does better. So everything's looking too gray. That's all I'm saying. And too light. It's too medium tone. We're looking for rich darks.
Don't walk.
Our kitties wandering around. We'll take a minute at the end to say hello. I think it's really important in these classes that we get to know each other. I hope you'll kind of return, and the pets return regularly. I think one of the things that keeps people sane is actually having on Zoom is actually having what's considered a real contact. Right now, what's nice is you guys can just, you don't have to look hard at the Zoom screen. You can be working on your painting and then looking up and talking. But in my experience over this period, I think people are pretty unhappy. They're working, but they're pretty unhappy. People are sad because they're not having interactions. So part of the goal of these classes is that they don't get bigger than 30. So we can actually talk to each other and get to know each other. Nice, Emma. Nice. It's kind of, so what are you mixing? Are you mixing Viridian green and in a burnt sienna? What is that mix?
I don't actually have any Viridian green. I only have chromium oxide green.
Oh, chromium oxide green will work. And
Yeah.
what are you mixing with it?
The kind of military green color was with the burnt, adding a bit of that dark burnt sienna, no, burnt umber and ultramarine.
Oh, I see. That's what that dark color
so
is.
that's
right.
two, that's like two, and then the
Olga.
light color was, the light color, stop guys, sorry.
Yeah, we get
the
it.
lighter color was your lemon yellow.
Lemon yellow.
Another yellow, which is an
okay. So try, you might try a different red just to see if you get something that looks a little bit less brown and more green. Vrinda, that is Viridian green, and what red have you got in there? If you just type, I will see it. It looks good, but I'd like to see. And we're not, and Vrinda, we're not using that light green. Did that just come out of the tube? I don't want you to use that. I only want you to use the colors that you mix, because you're going to get better colors that way if you mix. If you try to use a color out of the tube, it's not going to work. Okay. Better, Needy. That's better. Much better.
Thank you.
Great. So this is a whole practice in itself, right? These greens that we're mixing to lights. So let's do a little, before we go on to the painting, let's do a little practice. Anybody have an idea? Are these hard or soft edges, on the tree?
Super soft.
Yeah, mostly soft, right? The hard edges, and I'll remind you what those are in a minute, because we're going to do a little practice, are where the trunk kind of meets the sky, right? A couple of the branches, but mostly these transitions are going to be soft. So let's review that. You're going to take your big brush, the big brush, cleaning it off. I'm going to take some of my dark green with red, and I'm going to put it down here. Wait, I'm going to make sure you guys can see this. I'm going to give myself a little bit of dark green. And now I'm going to clean out my brush with water. And I'm going to squeeze it a little bit. And I'm going to take a little bit of lighter green. I'm going to put this still not too watery. There we go. Here's a little bit of lighter green. So we know that this is a hard edge, but the soft edge, what you're mostly going to be doing is soft edges. So practice sort of taking your brush and tapping in a kind of circular motion from your light to your dark, so that we have a transition that goes from light to dark, but it's a little bit softer and it's very tappy. It's a lot like I'm tapping a lot. See, to get rid of, so I want to get rid of that hard line. So once again, I'll have an example here. This is a hard edge. Remember, these are the two painting brush strokes. There is hard edges. That looks like this. Oops. Here, I'll just put this right in here. Need to make my dark darker. Hold on. The hard edge looks like this, right? Where a darker edge meets a lighter edge, and there's a straight line that comes right through it. And I see that line. That's a hard edge. And I get that by putting two colors next to each other like that. But most of the time, I'm going to be laying a dark next to a light and then tapping away that line. So I want you to try that on your sample canvas. So this is a soft edge. And for those of you who haven't done this before, it's like the base practice of being a painter. So if you don't get it right on the first time, it's okay. I want you to just keep trying. And I'll keep showing you in different ways how this works. There's your hard edge. There's your soft edge. So practice giving yourself a dark green with red and a light green. Do a hard edge and then do a soft edge. Or just practice soft edges and send me your pictures. Here, I'll send these across. Rashmi, nice palette. That's really great. Okay, hard edge. Right, so the hard edge right here is where we can see the edge. And in this edge, there's a transition from light to dark, but I don't see a hard edge. I don't see a straight line. And then in about 3 or 4 minutes, I'm actually going to start painting the tree, because if I don't actually paint the tree, we won't get to it. I'm going to paint for a little while and you guys can paint along with me, or better yet, just watch me and then try it. Because there's a lot that goes into applying paint. So Emma, what do you cover for BuzzFeed exactly?
So I covered reproductive rights for a long time, but now I'm more of a kind of generalist.
You mean general crazy town reporter?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a lot of you. I know, it's just bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah,
Although
for years, but now I'm back in New York.
Nice. Our Indian colleagues have told us that their president kind of sucks too, right? Oh, so wait,
Yes, he does.
Shoot, we are not supposed to talk politics. Sorry, I will not talk. I made a point of, somebody said to me, this is a recording, we should not talk politics recording, but some days it's like, oh my God. It's embarrassing. Nice, Annika. It's your light is a little bit dark, but I like the blending that's starting to happen. So you want to have a better variation between light and dark, so that we can really see that. But yeah, I feel like you're starting to get it.
Sorry, can you go over, I understand that the soft edge is a lot of tapping, but what's the hard edge brush?
Yeah, I'll show you. It goes like this. And notice I'm using a pretty big brush for all this. Let's see. So with the hard edge, here I'm going to mix myself some more. I'm just literally going to take my brush and go kind of straight down like that, right? Now I'm going to clean my brush off. It's got dark on it and I want it to be light. I'm going to take some light. So I'm cleaning my brush off. I squeeze the extra water out. Now I'm coming right next to the dark, so I can see that straight line. So when you're painting a trunk or something like that, right, we want that edge. We want to actually see that straight line between the dark and the light transition. And then to make it soft, you start the same way, and then you start to, right, pull it over like that. So essentially, when you're painting or drawing, you're not painting every leaf on the tree. You're really only trying to create edges that kind of mimic the shapes where the light and the dark areas meet. So let me take a picture of this, for example. I can show you. It's all about edges, and not just the edges between the objects. Here, no, wait, that won't work. Let's see, let's try this. Okay, let's see if I can show it. Nope, that's not going to work. It's always a challenge to figure out which color will work when I'm trying to show an edge. So here, right? So here's a piece. Let me focus in on a piece and show you. Un momento. Needy, it's still looking a little gray, so you want to get a little bit darker. I don't know what's happening, but there's a little too much. It's not dark. I'm not seeing the darks. All right, so here is an example of an edge in the tree. If you can see this, I just sent this across. So if you can see this here, right? This silver edge, which I've just emailed over, whoops, over here. So the reason you can see this, it's not really showing up very well here on the Zoom screen. I'm gonna move this. Only have so much room. There we go. Now we can see it a little bit better. Pull in. Right. So this whole shape, instead of trying to draw every single leaf that's in the middle of this shape, my focus is going to be creating a soft edge between the outer edges of this shape and where it meets the dark behind it. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. So this is where what our eye notices is where light meets dark, right? So that is where my focus is as a painter. I'm not going to be painting every leaf or even worrying about all the variations in here. I'm really paying attention to where this clump of light leaves kind of meets this darker area. So that's going to involve a soft edge, right? I'm not going to worry so much about these little blue sky holes. We'll talk about them in a minute. We'll talk about them when I start to demo. So really, I'm looking for the bigger shapes where light clumps kind of meet. So this is a clump, right? That's a clump. This is kind of a clump. This has its own thing going on. That has a different shape, basically. When I start to go in and sketch, I'm looking for where the biggest clumps of the tree meet the lighter clumps of the tree meet the darker clumps. So that's how I'm simplifying. I'm trying to show you where those are. I'll take a picture so you can kind of see them. So when you're focusing on adding detail, you're really adding detail only at the edge where a light clump meets a dark clump. That is absolutely. And you will find that if you do that, that is often enough to convey the feeling of the tree. Here, I'll take a picture of this so you can have it as a little guide as we go forward. Let's see. Not bad, Emma. So this is the, so is this the one in the bottom, the hard edge?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Yep, yep. So what you want to make sure is that you lose your light side on the top, on your dark, so I'm looking right here, right? Mm-hmm. On your top here. Make sure that we can still see a light transition to the dark. Okay. I can see a little bit. So you want to make sure you don't lose your light, which means you can pick up more light if your light is getting too mushy. So I'll just do this right on the canvas. So here, let's see, we've got this guy. We go from here to here, right? And this is just on my palette, so it'll be a little bit squoogey. But if I start to push my yellow in, right, and the green is getting, the darker color is getting into my lighter color, I can actually go up here and grab more yellow, more of my light color, right? And continue to push that in so that I don't lose my light as I'm tapping in my dark, right? I don't want to lose my light. So I can keep loading my brush with more of the light color. I'm not stuck with just what I put there. I can keep adding. All right, if I don't start this painting, you guys are going to be on your own to paint it by yourself. So let me do that. So I have my palette. I've got this guy kind of off to the side. I'm going to trust that you can see, yeah, really truthfully, how do we set this up so that this works? We'll put this here. I'd like you to see my palette. It's not as important for you to see this. It's important for you to look at the source when you're painting, and I am, but I think I'd rather have you see my mixes and my painting so that I'm going from the brush. There we go. Okay. A little bit hard to show everything, but we'll get there. So I'm focusing with the tree first. That's where my initial focus is. If you're wondering what to start, it's kind of our main. We always start with our main subject. In this case, it's the tree. I have a brush that I have, sorry, I keep doing this off camera, that I'm squeezing to make sure it's dry. I'm going to start with my burnt umber and my blue mix to get my darkest colors in. Let's see if I can put this over here. So because I'm using acrylic, my paint is already dried. So I'm going to mix a new pile of that. And yes, this is a big brush, but I'm still going to use it for my base layers. I can always cut that in. So I'm using the side here. Notice, by the way, that your trunk is not floating above the shadow. It's actually right in the middle of the shadow, like this. And I'm coming up here, and also notice I'm not going to do very much trunk, not much at all. You will see why. And I'm not getting too involved with the branches yet. So I'm basically working my darkest edges first here. I'm going to come in and get my shadow. I'm kind of using a scrubbing motion because my shadow is a little, see how I'm doing that? Because my shadow is not exact. It's hard, but it's not hard like these trunks are hard. And I'm using the tip, the sort of very edge of my thick brush to get like, and maybe I made this trunk part too thick right now, but I can cut that back later. So I'm looking to see if there's any other areas that are really like super dark. I don't, maybe a little bit up here. Most of this dark that's in the tree is actually green. So notice I am not getting my brush wet. I'm pulling more of the dark paint and I'm kind of fluffing it. I'm kind of patting it on top of my red. And in some places I'm bringing it out a little bit, letting that scoop. So I'm going to the area that's farthest away from the sun and I'm patting in a little bit of dark. So look at the difference. If I lay this dark on top of this red, my painting starts to feel more real. Can you see that? It's, even though it's still awkward, it's already starting to feel a little bit more real. The first layer is always a little bit insubstantial. So from here, and that's why I have this dividing line. I'm adding in some of this dark burnt umber and ultramarine blue up into the shadow areas. And then that's it. So I'm going to take a picture of this. This is burnt umber and blue. This is the burnt umber and blue stage. Let me take a picture of that. And then we're going to go on to layering greens. So you can see how much planning goes into painting. There's so much more we have to think about. When we're working with a pencil, or even when we're working with pastels, we don't have to think so heavily about our mixes, right? How much, but mixing is a huge part of painting. All right, so I'm cleaning out my brush. I'm squeezing it out here. And now I'm going to take my 4 values. So notice I'm going from darker to lighter colors. So I'm mixing a little bit of cadmium red with some viridian green to create a dark color. Needy, I want you to pay attention to what the value of this color. It should be pretty dark. So it looks, here, I'm going to lay a little bit down. And in a few places, I'm going to lay this dark color. Actually, in a lot of places, I'm going to lay.
What the mix was for this color?
Cadmium red and viridian green, just like we practiced in the beginning. Or some red and some green. But what you want is for your green to look slightly darker. In fact, I've run out of viridian, so I'm going to put some more on there. My brush is fairly dry. I have some wet in it, right? So I'm mixing cadmium red. So this is my dark. And if it looks too red when you apply it, you need to put a little bit more green in it. I am going to kind of pop this everywhere and in a few places, but notice I'm letting some of my red show through. So I'm not doing this. Let me show you. I'm not doing the compulsive painting thing, which is, I'm going to do it here so you can see it. One, back and forth, 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 back and forth. This is a nervous habit that many people get into. And it's everybody, every painter does this, this sort of compulsive, like, it's like you want to go back over and over and over the same thing to make sure you get it right. If you do that with your tree, you're not going to have that feeling of variation. So part of your underpainting, so here I am getting dark in, and I'm kind of tapping it in all around. And now I'm starting to kind of shape out my tree. Can you see that? I'm adding over here, wait. Here, I added a little bit of this shape coming out, a little bit here. I kind of poked this up. So now I'm starting to shape out my tree. And I'm even going to bring this green into some parts of the, I'm going to bring it into some parts of the light area in here. Don't worry about getting too dark. The beauty of acrylic paint and also oil in its own way is that you can wait till it dries and then cover it up with more color. Unlike watercolor, which you really can't do. All right. So you see, I'm leaving a little bit of this. This is my number 4. So it's slightly lighter. I'll take a picture so you can really see it. Slightly lighter than my green. Oh, so many things. There's so many jobs to do. I like how this tree is already looking though. My tree, a couple of the other trees, they took longer. So you see how this is already starting to look like a tree with varied leaves. I haven't really painted any leaves yet. And I'm also starting to get more of that shape in. Okay, now I clean my brush out, squeeze out the extra dark paint. Now I'm going to mix Viridian green and red as a base again, and I'm going to add yellow to that to create a lighter color, right? So I'm bringing that down here and creating a kind of a lighter, and I might try different yellows just to see what I like. So now I've got this lighter color, and now here, I'm just going to put this up here so you can see. I'm following where the lightest shapes are. And see how I'm kind of tapping in. So in the dark area, I'm kind of tapping with this big brush over so that I have soft edges here. Isn't that cool? I just think this is sort of the magic bullet. So, and I'm noticing with my big, so see with my big brush does a lot of the work for me. So see, now I'm starting to get a feeling of the light. Notice where I'm laying it. Notice that I'm trying to preserve some dark areas, particularly in this dark region. So I can do very little work of detail and still create this feeling of detail.
That looks great.
Right?
Like
That's like the kind of like, so, but notice I really haven't had that much detail. All right, so now, so now this is starting to get to a point where it's beginning to look a little bit better. Now I'm going to actually take it, I'm going to let you guys get to this, try to get to this point. I'm going to go clean my brushes and get clean water because now I want to add the sky into the picture. So. I can already tell we're going to go a little bit longer, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. So don't feel too rushed.
Can we see the source, Leah, again?
It's on the thread.
No.
I walked away. Oh, nice job, Emma. Nice job. Oh, the rookie. She's coming in, doing great work. Wonderful. Wonderful. Diana, that looks great. I think you're done. Honestly, I heard somebody asking for me. I'm sorry, as I was walking away, I went to get clean water and to run my brushes under the water. At this point,
I just asked if we could see the source because I can't get it on.
It's on. I'll just put it up on the thread again. It's in there a couple of times.
I can see it on the thread. I just thought we might be able to have it on the screen because it's on my phone is.
Oh, okay. It's okay, I could do that for a little while, but you're gonna need to see my mixing too, so we can't do all those things. Let's see.
I'm leaving you guys.
Bye, Diana.
Bye, Diana.
Hey, Sunday.
Right. By the way, for those of you who are new, Diana, there are 5, and you'll notice there are 6 classes listed on the schedule. There are 5 that are instructed with me, and then 1 is uninstructed, open studio with Diana on Thursday mornings. Starting at the same time, or afternoon, depending on where you are, starting at the same time that this class does. So if you want to jump into that, it's a different Zoom link because it's Diana's Zoom and not mine. And I actually have something going on. Okay, looking good, Annika, Emma, good, guys, good, excellent. So I just cleaned out the brush. All right, actually, you're right, Emma. This is a good time to move over so you can see the source. So now I need to get my tree background in here. I need to get my sky background. So I've cleaned my brush. It's clean. And I've got clean water, squeezing out the extra water. Down, you can't really see this, but Deb, you know what, but I can move this up a little bit. Kind of ignoring the shadow right now because we're really working. So I'm taking a little bit of my blue and a touch of my white to make a sky color. I don't know if you guys can see this down here. And I can use my sky, I can add my sky first around the edge, also in a soft edge kind of way, right? And I can notice how I'm pulling in over my original kind of funky shape. I'm putting more sky in so that my tree has a little bit more the shape of the source. So can you see, I can use my background and I'm still tapping because this has to be a kind of soft edge. And right, so I'm laying this here. And in fact, I might even, no, not yet. I'm gonna lay in my first layer of sky kind of around the edge. And then we're gonna talk about sky holes, which is one of my favorite painting terms ever. So see how I'm kind of tapping in and then in here. And I'm using some water. So see how I'm also able to thin out those branches. So what I'm adding into my tree now are what we call sky holes. So a sky hole is exactly like what it sounds like. It's little bits of the sky in the middle of the tree where you can see through to the sky. So here's the lesson. So I'm taking my sky, I went all the way around the edge, kind of loosely, right, and softly. Now I'm coming in here. I'm not adding every sky hole, I'm just adding a few. And they're looking a little bit big right now. So now, once I've added those sky holes in blue, I'm gonna clean my brush out. I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna get some of my dark green, right? My green and my red mixed here. And I'm gonna come back in and kind of pat over so that I don't cover up the sky with dark. I don't cover up the sky hole, but I make it smaller. And see how I'm creating, just by tapping here, I'm creating with this big thick brush, I'm creating this sense of leaves. Notice how I'm pulling it out here, and then up in here, while my sky is still wet, I'm also gonna brush in, kind of tap in some dark into the sky. So see right here, just doing that little tapping motion here, not making it so thick and heavy. This is the ultimate soft edge. Here is where you start to get, I'm paying attention to the edge where the sky meets the outside edge of the tree. And see how quickly that tree, I don't need very much of this. I just need a few things. If you want to get really fancy, here's one of my favorite tricks. I actually pull 2 or 3 threads from my brush. So see, I'm holding them with my thumb and my pointer finger. I'm going to scoop in some green. I'm scooping up some green color with them. So it's kind of sitting heavy on the brush like this. And then I can go in like this and kind of dot it, right? There's the secret, ladies and gentlemen, ladies. Here's the secret, ladies. It's the dotting. It's the taking just a couple threads and loading it with paint. And then right where the edge, where the tree meets the sky, you make these kind of little soft marks. And then see how quickly this is starting to look like a tree? Isn't that crazy? So just a little bit here.
What was the mix for the sky again? The color?
Just blue and white. So mostly white because you want it to be lighter than, right? Significantly lighter than this. So a lot of white. And what you'll notice is once you add the sky in, and so I use ultramarine blue, but if you want to use a different blue, you're totally welcome to. You'll notice that once you add the sky in, which is a cool color, it's blue is cool, the white cools it, it really showcases these darker, richer, more neutral greens very beautifully. Do you see how everything just pops forward? I mean, it's weird. It's kind of like magic, isn't it? I've done very little detail. I have only like 2 or 3 branches that you can see. Most of this is just tapping lights in over darks. Look, I'm even using my finger, right? And I'm also kind of shifting my light. So actually the last thing I want to do on this before I just look at what you guys are doing, right, is I want to make sure I've got enough lights up here so that there is kind of a transition so I can see that this side of the tree is darker. Even though there are light parts in the dark part of the tree, that there's more sort of gathered light in this top area that's facing the light. So can you see that? And even on this side of the tree, I can add a little bit of lighter green just to show that on this side, there's a little bit more. And as you get, and then here's the trick to painting. You have options. You can keep getting deeper and darker. And notice how these reds are, some of my underpaint, my red underpainting is still showing through. And look at how beautiful that is. You see how like beautifully those colors just, they vibrate. So another example of complementary colors, the red, which is the base of this tree, which you can still see, is next to green. And what that does is push this area towards you. It pushes the vibrancy of those colors. The cools push the edges. So I'm not really thinking about, I don't know if I've painted any, I mean, I haven't really painted that many leaves at all. I've mostly just been kind of dotting my paint around so it has this over my blocky shape, so it has this kind of light. And notice also how my lights look much better on top of a dark than if I lay a light down here. So obviously I'm not going to have time to finish this. I'm going to let you guys finish this. Now I'm going to start looking at what you're doing and see if I could give some advice. Here, let me take a picture. Hold on. Oh, base is starting to look good, Needy. Oh, Anya, very trippy. I like it. Anik, that's looking good. Now, Anik, I feel like your darks are looking too red, so you may want to mix a greener you may want to mix a greener dark to put in on top in places in this dark area.
Yeah.
And also your yellows are looking a little murky. They should be brighter up here. Great work, you guys. You're killing me. Let's see. Brenda, can I see the whole tree? I'm having a hard time see. Oh, is this just, are you kind of playing with mixing? Go ahead and type in what's going on. What your thought is happening here. I feel like I'm seeing too much red, and what we want is a more neutralized green. Nice work, you guys. Brenda. Anya, so you're going to want to work on add in your sky now, Anya, and I think that's going to help you. So some blue and white. I think that's going to help you start to keep your tree looking less blocky and more soft. Oh, Emma, nice. Emma, have you done this before?
No. Not really.
It's looking great.
Maybe in like school, like when I was a kid.
How are you feeling? So here's my question. After doing this, as being one of our newest people, after doing this, how are you feeling? Are you enjoying it?
Great. I mean, I craft a lot in general. I just
I
don't paint as much.
Right. So great job. Really wonderful work. You should keep painting. You should also think about beginning drawing and the pastel landscape class on Sundays. I think you'd really love it.
Yeah.
Annika, this is looking a little too solid, Annika. So don't start in the corner here. So your temptation, right, like you've done, is to start as far away from the subject as possible. You need to come right up into this subject and start carving out these shapes.
Okay.
Right now it's looking a little, so what I feel is your lightest areas are sitting too blocky on top of the edges are too hard. So there needs to be softer edges kind of everywhere where your lights are. They're too hard. I'm going straight to them and they're too strong. So they need to be softer. Our tendency is to want to go as far away from the center as possible, but really the point of applying the sky is to apply it right next to the subject, so we can start to use it to carve things out. We're getting there. Hey, all right. Do you guys remember this? Did I do this for you? This blue landscape. I just sold one of my demos on Etsy, one of our art class demos. Very nice.
I love the poppies you've done. It's so beautiful.
Thank you. I love poppies. I always do them this time of year because it's just heinous gray. In Portland, it's just gray, gray, gray. So all of us over here really need color. Nina, not bad. I like your darks, but you need much lighter greens coming on top. So right now your greens aren't really reading as green, they're reading as dark. So mix, you're going to start with red and green and mix much more yellow into them to lighten those greens. Much more yellow. Nice. Ooh, Natalia, very nice. Yep, I can see this is starting to work for you. Really work really work these edges. So guys, here's how this is gonna, oh, Claudia, not bad. Yeah, it does. Yes. So once you put these sky holes, so there are two things going on, Claudia, and one is that your lights need to be lighter. Okay, they need to be yellower and they need to be lighter. So work on mixing a less muddy green that looks lighter and brighter. And then the second thing is you need to bring do the second part of that step, which is to tap in, right? Like more paint over the sky holes so that you what do you call it? You hide them a little bit. and they have these soft edges coming around.
Okay.
Ooh, Brenda, really nice. Nice work. Okay, so Brenda, I would say do this. I like your lights. I would say there is a big light swath that you want to bring across the middle here from your dark side to your light side. So look at that shape, that's going to help. And then I also want you to tap in some dark greens kind of around the edges of your sky holes so they then push back. They disappear a little bit. Very nice work, Brenda. Right on. Looks like it's been eaten by moths. That's funny. Emma, coming along. I would say your greens need more yellow. And I'm checking. Oops, and I can see I pulled off a little bit of green. Emma, did you put red in your green for the lighter greens, or is it just yellow? Because I'm feeling like you've just put, I'm feeling like you've just put green down. Your lighter greens look just green to me. They don't look like they have any red in them at all, which means they don't look like natural. They don't look natural. But I love the shaping. I love the brushwork. You just need to get your greens lighter. Okay, so Anya, your marks are still looking too, okay, so take a look at this shape down here. You actually have your trunk going the opposite direction. You really should be carving in like this. Right? Your trunk is going like that. So that's not helping. Fix that. It's too thick up here. And then all of your darks. So what I'm seeing is no soft edges. Your edges aren't soft enough between your lights and your darks. You want to do more tapping. See, tapping. Wait, oops, I've got red on my brush. You want to be doing more tapping. Tap, tap, tapping, so that I have these soft edges. So tapping in your darks, tapping in your lights, tapping, so that I've got more of these soft edges and not these things, not something like that. See, when I put that down there, I see that it kind of wrecks. That does not look like leaves. When I tap it out like this, then it looks like leaves. So you want to work on your transitions. It's okay. Oh, Sandra, great.
Really? You think it works?
I do. I'd like to see, it's a different tree you're doing, right?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. It looks a bit like a pine, I think. But I couldn't tell what kind of leaves.
I feel like I'd like to see the source. Can I see the source?
What source? It's your tree.
It's my tree. Oh, well, this is very dark. Oh, okay.
But I'm taking poetic license.
Well, it's a bit dark. I think it's so what's bugging me about it from a light perspective is that this is too light.
Trunk is too light.
The trunk is way too light.
Okay, I can change that.
Darken that. For these colors to really start to go, yeah, your trunk is much darker. Oh, Anik, there you go. Uh-huh.
Thank you.
This is wonderful. Olga, nice. Okay, Olga, you've now lost, this is looking better, but you've lost your light and your dark side. So everything on this side from this line here, right, is way lighter. And there's more darks on this side. So keep going back with you need to go back in with lights. And really like push the lights from here. Notice there's almost a dividing. I know it's hard for you guys to see it like this, but we know because the light is coming down here that the major light area is really here, like that big lima bean shape. Everything else is kind of darker and then has little light splashes on top, but is mostly darker. So we need to see that shift happening. See how it's happening here? Yeah. And and you lost that, so you need to get it back. Great work, you guys. You're killing it. Also, Olga, I think your tree hole here could be a little bit larger and your trunk more shaped. So, I mean, I'm just being picky now. I should say the things I like. Oh, good, Nina. I'm glad you're enjoying it. You're doing a great job. Like I said, does everybody know does everybody have the class schedule? Should I post it on here so that you can see it? and see what the classes are. There are 6 classes a week at different times. Let me see. Sandra did it once, so I bet I can just go find it.
I can do it for you again if you want.
Would you? That would be wonderful.
Yes.
That would be wonderful. Post it again so everybody can see the class times. Awesome. Tomorrow we will be drawing this really adorable picture we'll go to trees eventually, but tomorrow in beginning drawing, we are going to do this. Whoops.
Hey, Leah, can you have a look at my display?
Leah, I think I'm not able to grasp it.
Is this your first painting session or your second?
This is my second.
Yeah, it's okay. It happens. Send it over. If you want me to see it, I can talk to you about what's going wrong.
I'm sending it.
Okay, so Needy, you lost all your you lost your light and your dark side, and you lost all your variation. That's better, Sandra, much better.
Oh, good.
So Needy, you lost. Rashmi, this isn't as bad as you think it is. It isn't as bad as you think it is. So you are struggling a little bit with blending, and so Needy and Rashmi, what I want you to get. So Rashmi, what I like that's happening is you're starting to get soft edges here, but you've lost all your darks. This and this look exactly the same. So you're needing to have more, you need to have more, and this is pretty much the same issue. So let me like show you a little bit what you need to be working on. And just practice, Rashmi. It's not easy. It's not easy for everyone. So it's actually not easy for anyone, but it's, you know, it's a challenge to get these down. So you want to have your dark areas in here, right? Kind of puffy. See how I'm popping them in like this? And then I'm putting in my lighter mixes on top, and where the dark edge meets the light edge, I'm trying to add I'm just trying to do that's where I'm pushing my tapping. See that? So I'm tapping. It's like I'm tapping. Tap, 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 tap. Right out here, I'm doing a little bit of even softer tapping, but I don't want to cover up my dark areas. If I lose my dark areas, like I lost them here a little bit, then I lose my variation. So these are significant dark shapes that need to be maintained as dark. So we do that by working, right? Not trying to cover the whole thing up with another layer. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to maintain my dark areas. So the challenge is not to go everywhere. It's okay. It's really easy to overpaint. What's nice about this is you can let it dry and then go back in and repaint. So wait, see how I'm pushing my dark areas? I'm adding more dark in here, starting to look better. Right, so I have light areas, but they don't go everywhere. So you need to be a little bit more sparing about your light areas. Okay. Yep, more like that. And notice there's a shift here happening. This tree is turning away from the light. There's more dark areas, less light ones. Okay, you're gonna get it when you get it. Don't worry about it. Annika, this is still too, your edges are way too hard. Okay, let's see, where is it working? Number one, Annika, you need way more darks in here. Number two, this edge down here is, you can see these are like splotches, and they're reading as hard edges. So your lightest marks are reading as hard edges. They're not reading as soft ones. Up here, that's totally working. Okay. That's up here, but down here, you need to darken everything here and then layer your lights on top in a soft way. So just keep working that. Anik, nice. Don't you love how everybody's painting looks different?
Yes.
Anya, getting better. Keep going, keep working it. Anya, you have too many sky holes. You should have 3. I want you to have no more than 3. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Needy, so Needy, you need to add in a few sky holes, and this, I think you need to let this dry, Needy, and then try to go back over with darker colors. What? Oh, Vrinda, nice. Ah, don't forget to put a little blue in here, Vrinda, because your sky comes through here and you see it. Beautiful, beautiful. For those of you who are struggling with this, let your painting dry and then watch the video and try again. So go back over and watch and see where you can totally work on top of your painting and keep it going. And don't worry about not getting it right the first time. There are a million things that you got right in this lesson. There are many things that you got right. And in fact, we're going to stop here. I'm going to remove the spotlight. I want to look at you guys in gallery view. Ooh, nice big group. So go ahead and turn on your thing. And I'd like to know if anyone's willing to say, Annika, I want to start with you. What did you think you did well in this lesson?
I like all of it. I mean, I'm still not done, but I feel like I started good, and I got the colors really nice.
Yep, I agree.
And then, yeah, it was good putting in the sky, but now I need to go back to the tree. But I like it. It's
your shape. I feel like your shapes are good. You got your shapes right. You got your color mixing right. Now you just have to work on blending, right? Yeah. Making your soft edges. Excellent. Anik, what about you? What are some things you did well? And then tell me one thing you could work on.
The tree. And I think I like the shape, how I did it. And
I like the shapes too.
How finally it looked like. I always struggled with trees when I was.
Because you tried to get too detailed too quickly. Yeah. Right? So you learned. Right. So you learned that you do not have to put in all the leaves to create a realistic looking tree. It's sort of blobs of color.
And I think that's what I should still work on is like mixing the colors, because I tend to go all too dark or too bright
and a little muddy. I saw your colors showed up a little muddy at first, your lights. Yep, I agree. Great work though. Claudia, are you still around, or are you? I keep seeing you popping in and out. Natalia, what do you think you did well in this lesson?
Well, I'm still working because I can't stop.
So okay, good. Don't stop. Don't stop. Keep going. But tell me what you think you're doing well in this lesson. What is working for you?
I don't know. I'm just.
You need to analyze it. What did you do well?
Okay. I will. Mixing, I think I'm happy with the colors.
Yeah, your mixing is getting good. I'd agree. Your shaping is getting good, and I like your brushwork. So what do you think you can work on?
I think still the edges.
Still the edges. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Working on soft edges. That's always an ongoing process. Claudia, what about you? What do you think you did well in this lesson?
I think I did well. I mean, I liked I love the dabbing part, and
the dabbing part. I love it.
Yeah. And trying to get soft edges.
Yeah. I think you're getting better with that. I agree.
Yeah, I'm trying.
What do you think you need to work on?
Oh my God, where do I start? I mean, like, my tree doesn't look like a tree. I mean, it's
okay. You can't. That's not an acceptable answer.
Right. Okay? I can improve.
What can you work on?
Yeah, I can improve my general painting ability.
No, you need to work on your drawing. Actually, it's your drawing. That's the issue. Okay. Your drawing is the issue. You're not seeing the shape and getting that. That's why your tree doesn't look like a tree. And I think you're doing a lot of smearing rather than sort of maintaining the darks, right? So in your lights. So you just need to work on that. When you say my tree doesn't look like a tree, that's not helpful. Like it doesn't help anybody. Like you've got it, and it doesn't help you. So I'm going to make you analyze what it is you're struggling with so that you can continue to work on it. Sandra, what about you? What do you think you did well in this exercise? I think you did a lot well.
Well, it's my first time doing a pastel landscape without any instructions.
Nice.
And so I think it came out okay. I actually like almost my pencil drawing better
Interesting. It was a beautiful pencil drawing. That's absolutely.
Which I've been studying in the middle of the night when I can't sleep. I've been looking at videos because I knew we were going to do trees. So I've decided to embrace a pencil drawing because I need
So what
to,
do you think you can work on?
A lot, or just about everything. I still need to figure out how to produce the leaves without so much detail.
You don't think, so you're not, so the thing is not to think about painting all the leaves or drawing all the leaves. You only focus on the area where a clump of light leaves meets a clump of dark leaves. That's the only.
Unfortunately, the pencil videos I watched pretty much did a lot of leaves. Well, they did marks. They did.
I think you're obsessing. Okay, but what I want to tell you is when you obsess about the leaves, when you obsess about the smaller things, you miss the bigger picture. This was done virtually with no leaves at all, leaf making at all.
But it's easier in painting. I don't know.
But I want, it's the same.
Pencil.
It's the same in pencil. It's the same.
So I want you to show me one day, please.
All right, you got it. Emma, anything you want to say? Oh, right. We've got two Emmas now. Emma Thomason first in Berlin. Tell us what you think you did well. I think and then Emma Connor, we're gonna ask you what you think you did well. Emma Thomason.
It was much better than last week, generally.
So what do you think you did well?
Yeah, I mean, despite all your talking about edges, I didn't stress about the edges as much because I think last week when I was really focusing on the edges, I ended up getting this muddiness because all I was doing was the sort of mixing of the edges and it just went into a mush. Whereas this time, kind of putting it on top in a, and dabbing it.
But that's still an edge. That's still an edge. Yeah. It's a slightly different edge, but it's still an edge, right? So you're still dealing with the edges, but you're not blending so much. You're working one on top of the other.
Yeah, but I guess that technique suited me better.
Excellent. Well, it's all just variations of the same thing. Emma O'Connor, how'd it go for you today? What do you think you did well? I think you did a lot of things well. I'm hugely impressed.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think it's like not, I'm not used to kind of like the grid aspect and looking at an image not like it's a actual physical object, and sort of like looking at the parts individually. And that was like a struggle for me at first, and then I feel like I got it, and then like and then it was like a surprise to me when all of the things I was doing all of a sudden like became a tree, and that was fun.
I wish I'm glad I have that on the recording. That is said perfectly. You basically went from left brain to right brain. Brilliant. Hope you'll join us in class again. Rashmi, this is very important because you are a very good student. You do really well. I want you to think about what you did well in this lesson. Don't tell me what you didn't do well. Tell me what you did do well.
The only thing I felt I could do well was mixing colors.
I agree.
So that came along, and the best I'm feeling about these classes is that I'm finally using all my things. See, I have palette knife set, I have my brush set. So I've never used all these things. So I'm finally using it after 7 months.
Yay!
So I'm happy to use
I know you're waiting.
these things even if I'm like messing it up. But I know I'll get there.
You'll totally get there. And I see that. And I think you just need to work on your edges and how that works. Yeah. Anya, what would you say you did well?
Maybe the underpainting, just because it was the new thing for me. So
yeah, I agree. You did your underpainting very well. Yes, you handled that well. What do you think you need to work on?
Well, definitely edges, and I feel like I suddenly just have too many colors. I mean, I tried to do tapping and soft edges, but then it just becomes a mess. It's like too many colors.
Yes, you got too colorful. So now you need to work on controlling your mixes, right? To just have fun, Emma.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Join us again. Report back to the crowd. They all should join us in class.
I will.
Anya, I think you lost control of your color mixing. So you want to go back to these very simple mixes, right? Where you've got a light green, a medium green, and a dark green. And I think that's going to help you a lot. I think that's going to help you a lot.
Maybe I just should get the materials because I just got some like really old
Yeah, you should definitely get materials. So you know where to find the materials list. It's on the website. And Needy, what do you think you did well in class today?
I really don't know what I did well, to be honest. Everything
You
was so
can't,
patterns.
you have that is not an acceptable answer. You've got to say one thing you did well. So I want you to look and see what worked. There were a lot of things we learned. So I want you to look and see, what did you do well?
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm not happy with this, whatever I have made. It doesn't look like a tree at all.
Well, yes, because you struggled with following the directions, but what do you think you did? I think your base tree turned out okay.
Yeah, base was okay, but I figured out the problem with me is like when I find myself that I'm slower than you,
right.
Then I start to put the things together at a very fast pace without even listening you properly or realizing, how the thing needs to be moved, just to catch up with you. And
I think
that creates a problem.
Don't try to catch up with me. Just watch me. And then, so less
Yeah,
painting, more watching.
That's a better way, actually.
I think this is your consistent method. You try to jump ahead without knowing what you're doing. And that's where you get, so don't jump ahead. Slow your roll. Watch more.
I think,
watch more and paint less.
I think in the beginning, I think I should first watch the lesson,
Yeah.
And maybe look at going to the later stage of painting maybe afterwards,
Yeah, that might be a great idea. That might be a great idea. That would be
I'm
great.
also planning to do the same. I think that helps more in these classes because
yeah,
these all new techniques.
Right. It's all new I agree. And for smart people like you like to try and anticipate. And the problem is you're anticipating wrong. And so like you're trying to anticipate, you're trying to watch, you're trying to anticipate. I'm trying to condense this into 2 hours, or 2.5 hours really. So it's everybody's trying as hard as they can. Yeah. Better to watch, paint less, watch more, and then do it later or watch it again. And particularly for you, Needy, because you're fast, you like to go fast, and your instincts aren't trained up yet to know what to do. So I think that's what happened. And I've seen, yes, that is it. So I think let's think about that. So great work. Anyway, you guys, really great work. I hope on some level you feel like you enjoyed this lesson, even if it was frustrating, even if you didn't get anything out of it. Even if you didn't get what you wanted out of it, that's not the point. The point is to start to practice. And I think everybody did great. I think you all moved forward, and that's the really important thing. So hopefully I'll see you guys for beginning drawing tomorrow.
Yes.
And for pastel landscapes on Sunday.
Yes.
And then next week, more painting. I like seeing you smile, Sandra, at all those painting, at all that art, those art classes. So. All right, you guys, we'll see you soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Good day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, guys.